Evening, folks. Welcome to the match view. A little look back at yesterday's game against Newcastle United and a bit of a chat about what is now needed in what is getting closer and closer to less than 24 hours or around about 26, 27 hours at this stage left of the transfer window. Joined by Paul Brooker from the Leeds Derby and Jerry McNamee, our resident consistent match goer home and away, to get the details on yesterday's game and what was a decent point at home for Leeds United against a good side, a strong side, even with players missing. Still managed to put a very, very expensive team out on the pitch. And Leeds have picked up 4 points now in their opening 3 games, which when you look at Arsenal and Newcastle in that 3, that's not a bad return given the pretty weird week we've had with performances with Arsenal and Sheffield United. But we'll start off tonight and we will check in with the lads. We'll start with Paul. Paul, how are you, mate? How did you feel about yesterday, just top line?
Very, very good. Impressed, happy, pleased. Atmosphere, electric. Overall, happy. I'm tired. That's your top line.
Okay. Jerry, how about you, mate? What do you think? How are you?
Yeah, I said as soon as them fixtures came out, 4 points out of the first 3, snap your hand off. And after the week that we've had, and especially into the international break, needed to be positive. Didn't feel it going into the game. I was worried. I was concerned, but I think we showed that we can compete, and it was great. It was great. 0-0 draw, great to watch on a wet day. You love it, the crowd going mental, the whole lot. Yeah, a good day, a good end to the first phase, if you like.
Yeah, lots of stuff to get stuck in. Lots of good news for everyone who is in the chat. I will leave the comments down the bottom corner. I will star a few questions along the way that we want to cover. This Spirits-Jan question has been asked by Luke. We'll come to Spirits-Jan towards the back end of this. We'll do a little bit of transfer talk towards the end. But let's start off with the match, Paul. 4 points, as I say, first 3 games. Newcastle, Arsenal in there. Very positive after a pretty tough week. Performances, a strange performance against Sheffield Wednesday. Unusual manager comments as well, which I don't think helped the situation. And a pretty lackluster performance against Arsenal as well. But we saw a little bit more like we saw against Everton, a very physical Leeds side getting their face. Sean Longstaff putting a very big man on his arse several times in Bruno Guimaraes, a player I describe as the Premier League's bully. And he got bullied yesterday by Sean Longstaff. But yeah, 4 points in 3 games, Paul. Very solid start.
Yeah, you can't be happy with that. That means we're tracking at getting 50 points for the season. That happens, we stay up. So you can't be anything other than happy with that. What I wanted to see yesterday, I wasn't positive going into the game. I wasn't. I just felt like looking at the way that they pressed Liverpool that we were going to get absolutely pressed to within an inch of our lives. And that wasn't the case at all. I thought really, really pleased to see Nemecha in. Interestingly, Farker said that Nemecha had a slight knock going into the Arsenal game, and had he not had that knock, he would have started in the Arsenal game. Now, you take that at face value, whether or not that's true or not, but that's what he's said after the game. I was impressed with Nemecha. I thought he held the ball up incredibly well, just strong. Botman knew he'd been in the game. With Nemecha, I was really, really pleased with what he did. I had slight concerns over Gruev. I think everybody did, but I think Gruev really proved everybody wrong. He wasn't spectacular, but everything that he did was fine. It was right. I really enjoyed him smashing into Guimaraes halfway through the second half and completely putting him on his backside. That was brilliant to see. The Aronson substitution confused me, and then my brain went to, actually, tactically, I get why he's done this, because they're getting a bit tired. So the legs on makes sense. Harrison, apart from his final ball, I understand why he brings Harrison on, because Nonto is cutting in so much. To have somebody that's going to just hug the line and move, that, to me, that makes a lot of sense. I thought DCL looked great when he came on as well. Once he's match fit, I can't help but not. He's going to score goals. He's absolutely going to score goals. Had it not been for Dan Burns' studs on his boot, we could have been seeing that being buried into the bottom left-hand corner and becoming an absolute hero. But for me, my man in the match, Longstaff by a country mile. Just closely followed up for me by Bogle from what I saw on the pitch. I just thought Bogle was good. But Longstaff was just everywhere. There was very much a case of proving a point against the team that had basically just sold him. Very much a case of, it was beautiful to see him shouting, Gene, everybody. He was almost like second captain in the midfield, which was brilliant to see. I thought the defence was fine. I really like Goodmanson. I really, really like Goodmanson. I think he's a really, really good left back. And we don't need to be worried about him going off. I think that was more just he was knackered than anything else. And maybe slightly going, I don't want to play in the Sweden team. I just want to stay. And we've now got a couple of weeks. And the interesting point that was made, Longstaff in his interview after the game, I thought he spoke very well. I do like the way he speaks and the way that he carries himself, very good. But he's actually hinted at the fact that both Tanaka and Ampadu pretty much will be back after the international break. That's he said that himself. Whether or not that's true, we don't know. But it was just nice to hear that. It was just encouraging. Like you said, 4 points from those 3 games is brilliant. We've played Everton, and you look at Everton now; they've won the last 2. We played Arsenal, who are pretty much in a shoo-in for the league, and Newcastle, who absolutely squeezed and pressed the life out of Liverpool in the last game. So I'm very, very happy, and they went a long way to putting right stuff that happened on over the past week or so. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, your thoughts on the game as well as a whole, and who stood out for you? Because I'm looking in the chat, and SofaScore gave it to Joe Rodon, but SofaScore does work off an algorithm based, not an eye test. But Goodmanson's been mentioned, Gruo's been mentioned, Longstaff by everybody's been mentioned, Bogle very good as well, Metcha also. What was your take on it?
Yeah, well, when I saw the team at first, I was a bit concerned because I thought Bijol would come in, or at least in the midfield, but on the bench, and I worried about Pascal because he did get a bit of a run around at Arsenal. And Gruev as well was a concern, but no concerns at all. I think everything that Paul says, I agree with. Longstaff from the start was straight in with tackles and winning the ball. Obviously, a point to prove, but I think at the end, we've seen when he applauded the Newcastle fans, they appreciated him, and I think we've got a leader there. And it was too early to sort of judge him on the other night. Don't think we judge anything. Let's just forget about Sheffield Wednesday. Put that in the past. Throughout the time, I thought Pascal was excellent. I think him and Rodon won most corners and won headers, the clearances. The keeper, who still looks like he's just sitting there with his just a bit not so bad. But he made a couple of good saves. Comes crosses. Yes, his kicking's not great, but I think it's more difficult because we are sending it longer more than we ever did, and it is going into a sort of gaggle of players. I mean, you look at Newcastle. We've got a big team, but they are a very big team, and I think one of the biggest stats was the parity between the 2 Dans on the wing. I think early on, Dan James went up for a header with Dan Burn, which was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. But yeah, the midfield, excellent, I thought. Yeah, Bogle was excellent. Goodmanson. When's the last time GG was substituted by JJ? Or we had anything similar? Johnny Cooper needs to get onto that. I'm sure there is a double name. I thought the match, you got mixed reviews. I seen somebody saying he was off. I thought he was brilliant. I thought
very good.
He was. It wasn't your cultured centre forward, but he was winning battles and he was holding that ball, and they knew they were in a game constantly, just that wrestling, and he more times than not got a touch to it and held the ball up well. But it wouldn't be in a game for Pero, I don't think. Dan James, Willie as well battled away. I think the subs. Yeah, I was thinking. Obviously. Noah up to 4. All these new names. He was obviously carrying a knock, and I thought,
bit of knock,
we Brendy coming on. I thought Jack Harrison was excellent when he came on. I thought his defensive play and his getting forward and getting the ball. Fair play to the guy. He was persona non grata, and I think there was no booze. I think the fans appreciate what he's doing. Again, Calvert-Lewin, brave, because he was. We know what he was the other night and missing that penalty, and he came on, and I thought, we're going to lose a bit of physicality up front. And he ran. He had one touch that it's shame didn't come off, but that shot I thought I was going in, and I thought he ran and he looked decent and he looked up for it. And I think he gets a goal, he'll get a few throughout the team. And I mentioned James Justin. I thought for his cameo, I thought, he looks competent. He won a couple of tackles, can get forward. Yeah, he's a Premier League player. And, you only got to be positive. Yes, it was a 0-0, and for the neutral, not great, XGs or whatever. I never take much notice. There wasn't a lot. But I thought I had a Newcastle fan with me at the game yesterday. He was surprised they didn't go with Elanga and Barnes. He was surprised they were so defensive. And even he said he thought Leeds possibly edged it, in the second half. We looked more likely. And that was an interesting perspective. But all in all, good day. Good banter between the fans. I think they agreed on a lot of stuff. Obviously, the Gary Speed. And what I liked at the beginning, just worth mentioning, we had a minute's applause for all those who we've lost. And of course, included our good friend John Redmond was on that list, John from Dublin. And if any of his family listening, our deep condolences. What a lovely guy he was. And I was thinking of him yesterday. So, nice day all around. And back at 10 o'clock last night, and I watched Match of the Day. And again, no analysis on Leeds. Never hardly mentioned us. Yeah, it was all VAR yesterday, wasn't it? So, at least there was no VAR.
Bad day for VAR.
It was terrible day. So, I'm looking at Liverpool. It's 0-0 just coming up to halftime.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, bad day for VAR, and they've already admitted to PGMOL that the Fulham goal shouldn't have been disallowed. It was a mistake, and the VAR overstepped. They shouldn't have gotten involved in the incident, apparently, according to that as well. But just a really bad day for VAR yesterday. I just wish they'd just pull the plug on it. I don't understand why they can get it so right in the World Cup and so wrong in the Premier League consistently. And again, even with technology, it's human error that's getting in the way. It's people making the mistakes and they're judging it. I think they should be given a time limit. You've got 60 seconds to see if you can see something. If you can't see something, it's not clear and obvious, goes with the on-field decision. We move on. Because I think the first game yesterday, the Fulham game, there was 18 minutes added on between both halves for VAR decisions, that's way too long. But luckily it's not impacting us right now. I'm sure it will catch up on us at some point throughout the season. But nice to see somebody else getting an offside for his shirt sleeve and Patrick Bamford pointing at where he wants the ball for a couple of years back against Crystal Palace. But interesting one. Yeah, John Redmond as well obviously passed away, and thoughts and prayers with John's family. I knew John well. I visited him a couple of weeks ago as well. And on my watch-alongs, I have a We Are Premier League flag behind me usually because I can't use my backdrop. And John gave me that a couple of weeks ago as well before he passed away. So he's always here and always in our memories. And tough time for his family, but great to see him on the screen as well. And great to see the banter between the two sets of fans as well. There is a connection there, obviously, with the Gary Speed stuff. But really good. But on the players you've mentioned, I agree. I thought Lucas Metch's hold-up play was really good against a very physical Sven Botman and a Fabian Schär, two very good centre-backs. And even to be able to flick the ball left and right with his toe while he's being dragged to the ground. And then Willie Gnonto and Dan James picking up the second ball. It was absolutely fine for me. And that's what I want, an old-school number 9. And if Big Lucas needs to go long down the park, fine. We've got a guy there that can actually do something with it. So, we'll get to Joel Piroe in a minute as well, because it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Yeah, Stevie's saying just scrap VAR. I would agree with that. I want to move on and talk about that midfield 3, Paul. Mm-hmm. So I wrote down some numbers. Actually, meant to say this as well, just to put this in context, because I think the expectation level is Leeds are going to be Conference League this season rather than just above relegation zone from some of the fan base. Leicester City had 3 clean sheets in the entire season last year. Ipswich had 2 clean sheets in the entire year. We've already managed 2 clean sheets inside the first 3 games, which bodes well for that. So there are improvements there, but we just need to regulate our thinking on where we're going to finish. It's still going to be a battle. We need to start scoring some goals, and we'll get to that again in a minute. But let's talk, Paul, about the midfield 3. So we've got Anton Stack, Sean Longstaff, and Ilya Gruev in there. For me, Gruev gets picked on is the wrong word, but gets singled out for doing things he's not in there to do. Like for me, he's in there to be the defensive midfielder, win the ball and pass the 5 yards to somebody else, go forward with it. Thought he did that really, really well. He's not your progressive passer. It's like complaining about your goalkeeper not scoring goals for me. It's not what he's in there to do. But they were up against the midfield. Even without Joe Linton, Guimaraes cost 37 million, is rumored to be valued at over 50 million at this point. Jacob Ramsey, 41 million. And Sandro Tonali, 55 million. Our midfield cost us, 3.5 million for Gruev. Longstaff, fair enough, and Stack, fair enough, but still considerably less money. And they were our replacement options for Tanaka and Ampadu. What were your thoughts on the midfield 3 battle?
They absolutely, I'm going to blast out all of the weird ones now. They absolutely worked their socks off. They played so well. I thought Longstaff was on it from the start. I mentioned it. He was my man in the match. I liked everything that he did. Stack, I don't know how Stack runs really slowly but moves really quickly. It's weird the way that he does. He's got properly long legs, but Gruev was there ratting around. Every time Tonali tried to get the ball, Gruev was there. Every time that Guimaraes was trying to get on the ball, Gruev was there. So I was really really, really pleased with what I saw last night. I mean, we talked about Longstaff, but he had the most tackles in the entire match, won the most duels in the entire match as well.
Yeah.
He had near enough 90% pass success rate. 4 out of 5 tackles won, 7 out of 11 ground duels won. He was fouled twice. He only committed 1 foul. Recoveries 6, interceptions 2, dribble pass once. He was only dispossessed once in the entire game as well, which was fantastic. 3 passes into the final third, 52 touches in the entire game, just brilliant. And as you say, Joe, you're up against a midfield 3,
£155 million midfield,
£155 million midfield. I just thought it just works really well. And listen, somebody mentioned it yesterday as well, that I think it was LUFC Lewis that mentioned it, that Ellen Road might be back. The atmosphere yesterday was brilliant. And there was a point where you could see everybody was getting tired, particularly in the midfield, and just the atmosphere started going again. And it just gave everybody a little bit extra, which was very, very good to see. Everybody performed to the game plan that they were supposed to do. Just everybody was good. That midfield 3 makes us incredibly difficult to break down. But then when you factor in that we actually still have Ampadu to come back, and we also have Tanaka to come back as well, that midfield's actually really, really good. Yeah, in the cost side of things, it's like it's you can't really scale it into the cost side of things. But what we actually have at our disposal is actually a really positive thing. I was very, very happy with what they did yesterday.
Yeah, I have to agree. Jerry, what was the one area that really stood out to you yesterday? What was the one part of Leeds' performance against Newcastle that really pleased you or stood out and will give you hope at least moving forward for the rest of the season after the international break?
Yeah, I think our defence looks solid. I think our goalkeeper will get better. And as I say, in the midfield, this isn't our first choice midfield, and someone like Bruno, who bossed it against Liverpool the other night, and he was the driving force. I didn't really see him. I thought, no, he's not getting involved. And the fact that they're saying they're short players, they brought £100 million worth of players off the bench. Elanga, Harvey Barnes, they're no mugs. So I think throughout the team, I think it was the team ethic more than any one particular thing. I think we were winning tackles, and if we were losing the ball, we were winning it back. We were defending. I think we were better defending set pieces as well. And that's something that we slipped up on last year. I think I say a lot of the corners, and Pascal is someone who you would think is not going to get in the team, but he's put his hand up in these home games, both home games, and Bijol has to win his place. But I looked at the bench yesterday, and I thought we're looking strong. And I don't think Sam Byron got on the bench yesterday.
No,
and we've got a strong squad. So that sounds like there might be another couple coming in. And when everybody's fit, Ampadu and Tanaka, I think what it shows you in this division, it's not the first 11. You really need to be able to switch this. Look at a game of chess, So when your 2 wingers are tired, you've got 2 to bring on. And your midfield, you bring somebody else on. If you got somebody creative, you put them in. But yesterday was, you want, as I said last week, you just want dirty feckers in there and just get stuck in on a wet day. And that's why I loved it. I was really getting on. It was blood and guts. And we did, for a team that's come up, we didn't look bullied at all. And in fact, we as I say, we edged it. And it's interesting as well with the teams that have come up. The 3 teams that went down last year got a total of 59 points, and the 3 teams got promoted already got 13. So I think this year it's not going to be 3 adrift. It's going to be 6, 7 teams, and we're seeing teams that we thought, they're going to be in it. Bournemouth, for example, and won at Tottenham. Brentford had won a game. It's going to be very close. Everton, we thought first game, they're going to struggle, and since the tweaks and probably Grealish, although I hate to say it, has probably added to them. And City losing this, so it's really wide open this, and I think I think scoring goals is the problem at the moment, but not conceding them is very important, because that's how teams easily could have 1-0 down early and that's it, but we didn't, and we stuck to our task. So the goal scoring is a thing, but there'll be. That was a tough defense. Yes, they landed the Giants, and we've got one guy that can do it, but we probably need another striker in there to can break it down a bit more.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll get another striker, but I think we'll possibly get 2 others, and that's the hope, because that squad, someone's going to need to go, and we'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah.
Paul,
Mhm.
3 league games gone, international break. Hopefully, as you said, the little niggle for Gabby Goodmunson keeps him home for a little bit longer, which means you get Perry staying there. Bial, I don't know if he was called up for is it Slovakia or Slovenia he's from, but one of the two.
No, Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Slovenia?
I don't know if he was called up. I'm assuming he will be called up, but we
Slow.
hope as many of them can stay back as they can, so they can keep working on trying to get the relationships built up and the partnerships built up and see where it goes. But yeah, big couple of weeks ahead. But the next 2 days, Paul, are huge for us. After the Villarreal game, Daniel Farkas said that he wanted the side, he thought the side was good enough to grind out results in the first part of the season before the international break, and didn't expect the side to be fully completed until deadline day. We're now approaching deadline day. And yesterday, Farke gave his most direct comment, which is where he said if Leeds fail to get 2 offensive players, it's going to be a very difficult season. Not impossible, but difficult. I think it'll be difficult anyway. Still question marks around who's coming in. There's a lot of links towards Edward Spurtsian, who is playing for Krasnodar in Russia. They're sorting that out. He's not Russian, for those who think he is. He's Armenian, so he doesn't fall into that bracket. So Leeds could go get him. Leeds were linked a year ago with him. And so far in 6 games, Paul, you'll correct my numbers on this because I've forgotten what you said. But up until today, he had played 6 games, scored 7 goals, and had 3 assists or 4 assists. Paul, what's he on now?
He's on 5 assists and
8 goals.
It's 5 assists and 8 goals now, yeah.
Which is nuts in 6 games. So, and we've got Joe Blackburn, who did all the homework on Spurtsian yesterday, by the way, to find legally how Leeds can get him in the current situation. But it can be done. And apparently Leeds are actively trying to get that one done. So we'll see what happens. But Paul, very important day coming up. We've got about 25, 26 hours left to go before the window shuts. Thank God, because this window feels like it's gone on for 6 years. And I can't wait till it's over. But a really important day to finish the job. They've gotten the points on the board early doors. They've had that defensive solidity. The team appears to be growing and getting stronger defensively as a unit. But as everyone has said, we're just missing that little bit of a spark in the final third. How are you feeling going into the last 24 hours of this?
Nervous, really, really nervous. I'll be completely honest. I'm concerned. It's very, very quiet, which we don't know whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, but little bits and pieces of news that we're getting, even the normal ITKs that would be coming out with bits and pieces, haven't been coming out with bits and pieces, which kind of, on the one side, makes you think the door's been shut in terms of anything getting out, and they are working on stuff. But we've got, 26 and a half hours left of the transfer window now. So this is crunch time. We need 2 in. We definitely need 2 in. I see Bakwa's still not gone anywhere. I'm not letting that one go yet.
And Nottingham Forest have pulled out of it.
Yeah. So it's with the Stuttgart thing for El Canoes looks like that's happening, doesn't it? There's a plane booked for him tomorrow at or 4 today or something for him to go have his medical. So I'm concerned. I need to see some movement either tonight or first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I am really, really worried for what is going to be potentially happening. Now, what I've seen so far, I think the team are potentially good enough to stay up, but it's going to be an absolute slog. It's going to be horrible. 50% of the fan base are going to hate it, and 50% of the fan base are going to love it. But it's going to be horrible for the entire season. Farke put his point. What Farke's done is he's progressively gotten more pointed in what he said in terms of what he needs. And yesterday was a real, that's his line in the sand. And he's basically just said, look, if you don't sign me these players that I need, this isn't going to happen. And I know Dan Moylan was in the posh seats yesterday, wasn't he? Because there's a picture of him. Yeah, there was a picture of him behind their new striker, Newcastle's new striker, who was at Ellen Road yesterday, who suspiciously looked like some weird person. But anyway, Dan Moylan was in the posh seats because the Leeds United Americas, they've got seats there.
Oh, yeah, they're doing stuff. Yeah.
So he was there and he asked, I can't remember who he asked, but he asked somebody and the guy just smiled at him and said, "We will continue to try to do everything within our structure in the way that it needs to be." But he said that he gave him kind of like a real cheeky smile, not like a "I'm stressed and worried." It's very much nudge, nudge, wink, wink kind of thing. So I'm just worried. I know they leave stuff late in the window, but gee, money.
Well, there is the other side to it. There is obviously that portion of this fan base who every year, no matter how much business we get done early, if we don't do something on deadline day, throw a wobbler that Leeds haven't done enough. Then they'll get that tomorrow, Jerry. They'll get a full day of watching their phones and deadline day. But it is at that point now, Jerry, where Leeds have negotiated a lot of the prices of the players they brought in this summer down, and have gotten really good value on a couple of them. They're now in a position where they won't have time to do that, and they may end up spending slightly more to finish this off. Now, as we said, there's names like Hamer's been mentioned. Hamer's at 10. People are asking about Spurtjan. Where does he play? Edward Spurtjan is an out and out number 10. He's not a right winger. He's not a left winger. He's not an 8. He's an out and out number 10, which would give Leeds options in that 3 midfield, playing him slightly more advanced. Very creative player. Can score goals and get assists, which we need. Gus Hamer can play on the wing, can come inside, but also for me is very much a number 8. So that would be the box-to-box 8 you're looking to bring in. But I still think, Jerry, there's probably a surprise in there. But they've got to move quick. They've got to get these over the line. And I would like to not get to 7 p.m. tomorrow night and still be waiting on the final bits and pieces for someone to come in.
Yeah, deadline day. We've I remember the Steve Morrison. Don't go to bed just yet, wasn't it, Steve Morrison? We sold Dominic Polion or something.
Dom Polion.
Matt Smith as well.
Matt Smith as well, we
brought
in Habib Hababo.
Habib, what a player he was. Legend, yeah.
Easy for you.
Great sweet maker as well. And we had, of course, playing Cody Gakpo coming on planes we were talking about just before, and the other guy who got off a plane and on a plane. And then we ended up with Willie a year early, Willie Nonto, but that was good. So I'm hoping tomorrow that it's dead. I'm hoping I've been looking all day through the phone and thinking there must be something. I heard good source that Gus Hamer would be coming to Leeds. He seemed to be waving goodbye to Sheffield United yesterday, somebody said, as is their manager, apparently. I think he's on his way out. So Gus Hamer, he didn't look, I can't talk, but he didn't look the fittest when we saw him last year. But was he a sort of player that we definitely won the Championship? Is he Premier League? But, get him in. If, he'd be in the squad. And if he can add something, maybe not a regular player, then fine. But I'm hoping we get 2 in tomorrow and that it's done well and we don't end up with it. We nearly did it and it didn't work out, and we're chasing around mad. But there's then the wider picture. Whistler, is he wants to lead Brent. Newcastle want him. Isaac. That's going to happen or not. You think they would want all them things happen? It could be a mad day tomorrow where lots of dominoes falling and means there's people moving around and and I suppose there's going to be a lot of outgoings as well from Leeds. You would think as well. That's something we got to look at as well. I see JB is linked to Wrexham. Melia still around. And a couple of others. Who you need probably on loans and everything else. So could be a very busy day, but let's hope by this time tomorrow we're happy. If we get 3 players in, the fan base will be saying we should have got 4. We know what we're like. So,
if we bring in 2, that's 12 players this summer, Jerry. If we bring in 2, that's a lot.
That's a lot, and you can bring in too many sometimes. But I think so far integrated all right, and we're still seeing the core of last season. But we know there's replacement. But that midfield with Ampadu and Tanaka, when they come back in, it's going to be very competitive for places and even to get on the bench. So we
need that though. You look at
definitely you need that. You need the whole 25. Yeah. It's going to, as Paul says, it's a long, hard slog. As long as we're in it most of the way and just progressing 4 points every 3 games, I'll take that all season. That's what we need.
Ilame's been linked with a ton of clubs. Valencia, Carlos Corberán, who knows him very, very well, is having a look at him. He's also been linked with that club in Turkey, as well as also being linked with a return to his hometown club of Lorient, where we got him from. They've just been promoted back into Ligue 1 in France. So he has options, whether they happen or not. If they don't happen, you could possibly see, Paul, a mutual parting of the ways with a year left on his contract to let him go and get a club as a free. We've seen Paddy go out the door, which might clear the deck of a bit of wages as well. Darko JB's been linked with Wrexham, Watford. There's a couple of clubs keeping an eye on him as well. So there will be some movement out as well as in. But I want to talk about one specifically, and more so, Paul, because of how we played yesterday. And this is not, and I mean this is not a slight on this player at all. I quite like this player. But looking at how Leeds played yesterday and looking at what happened, and again, Daniel Farke's comments about the Arsenal game, the big man's up top. It's Lucas Mecha to hold the ball. If it's not him, it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin to hold up the ball, both of who did a fantastic job yesterday when they came in and played. Where will Joel Pirou fit in that if Leeds do bring in another striker? Would you be surprised if Joel Pirou went out the door tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I don't think... I love Pirou. I like him as a player. I like his very nonchalant style that he has. I think he's brilliant. But it's where he would fit into this. He doesn't fit into a 4-3-3 formation at all. And it's whether or not he's prepared to stay and be a bench player, given what he did for the team last season in terms of being the Golden Boot winner, etc., so on and so forth. Whether or not for that 4-2-3-1 formation that we like to play, that side of things, it's where is he going to go? That's in terms of on the pitch. It's very, very difficult for him, I think. And we all say it, there's no room for sentiment in this league, because the be-all and end-all is us staying up this season. That's the be-all and end-all. I can see him going somewhere before the window closes, be that out on loan or be it, I don't know, down into a championship club. I don't know, but I can see him going. I just can't. Yeah. He just doesn't fit into the system, unfortunately.
Yeah. Steve, I'd love to put your super chats on screen, but if you're going to keep insulting people, I won't be doing that. Okay, that's not what we do here. So unfortunately, that super chat will not be going on screen. You can figure out a refund if you want to, but unfortunately, I won't be putting that on screen. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Jerry, where do you sit with Pirou and the situation around him?
Yeah, I thought the first game against Everton, I thought he did all right. He was linking up the play well, and he may suit some games, but it's a numbers game. And if we have a squad of 25, he'd probably rather be out on loan or leave. There's been nothing mentioned, but I must admit, I'd rather see Brendan go. I don't think he's up to it at all. I think but I probably nobody can afford him, and we're stuck with him, but he'd probably do stuff. But it's a numbers game. I don't like players who did so much for us to be leaving, but as Paul says, it's a business, and if we got somebody in, then he may go, probably alone, but there's been no mention. If you're on the top of the championship, you'd want him, because he'll go on streaks. But even in the championship, he was frustrating for us at times. He disappeared. Maybe he's not a number 10, but is he? You got Nemecha, you got Calvert-Lewin, and you might have another striker come in, and has he got a place? And it's purely a numbers game. If we're allowed 30 players, I'd rather keep him, but it could be business. So watch this space on him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Harrison Aronson conversation is interesting. I keep calling them Harrison at this point now because they don't come on as a package deal, so we just label them as Harrison. I understand, Paul. You've said that already. I understand why Farke brought them on yesterday. I wanted to see Okafor come on, but obviously he has a bit of a knock. But it's the final ball from Jack Harrison is always the problem. You know what you get from Jack Harrison. You get work rate, you get pressing, you get tackling, you get defensive qualities. We know Daniel Farke prefers that over attack-minded players. Go back to the Everton game, and Farke was complaining about Anton Stack and Tanaka trying to run into the corner flags. And he didn't want that. He wanted them staying in the middle of the park and holding the lead shape, and don't risk 3 points for the sake of missing out on one. Don't make sure you get what you can get out of the game. I think that's why Largey's gone out on loan, is because defensively Farke doesn't get what he wants from him. That's a priority for Farke, and that's purely management style, whether we agree with it or not. He's the manager. That's his style. But you could see towards the end of that game that he was bringing on 2 players to chase down the ball, to win it back, and to just, again, make the smart decisions towards the end of the game of going into corner flags and winding the clock down and being a bit more defensive-minded. And both of those players do that. They do give you a lot of pressing. They do give you a lot of energy. They do an awful lot of work. The quality is the question mark. But at that point in the game, that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for defensive stability from his wide players. And he got that yesterday. So there is a part there for them to play in this Daniel Farke system, whether it's, personally for me, I think it will be off the bench this season.
No, I agree. You're going to find that Harrison and Aronson are going to be coming off of the bench this season. I think that's what's going to happen. But Barker has never forgiven Ramazani for the slip up against Swansea, where he loses the ball and Swansea then go up the other end and score to make it 2-2. And ever since then, there's not been a problem, but that just put Farker up to go, right, I can't trust him to come back and defend properly like he should be able to. He's a very gifted player. He's a very talented player. We all agree on that, but largely doesn't back enough. That's the problem. And I've said this before. You get that with Harrison. You get that with Aronson. You get that with Nonto now. Nonto didn't always used to do that, but now his game is a lot better than that. And getting it. He's a strong guy as well, Nonto. I didn't realise how tough he was in terms of being able to hold himself up well against bigger players. So we are going to, for that attacking side of things, when we need to just tighten it up, it's going to be Harrison and Aronson coming on, because it's the reliability of it. They're going to work to a game plan, and this season is going to be about working to a game plan and sticking to it for us to be able to stay in the Premier League. That's the whole nuts and bolts of it. And this is why I've said to people, you've got to strap in, because this isn't going to be pretty. We're going to have flashes of brilliance. We're going to have flashes of absolute dog caca. But at the end of the day, they've got to follow a plan. Barker's the boss, and they have to follow a plan.
Yeah, I mean, it has been said in the conversation that overblown optimism about some of the players, but I don't think it is overblown optimism. I think we're being real about this and saying there is a lack of quality in terms of both those players going forward, Jerry. But from a manager's perspective, and this is from Daniel Farke's perspective, he is a slightly more risk-averse manager, and he knows what he's going to get from both of those players. I mean, if it's run around, make yourself a hassle, tackle people, that's what he gets from them. He knows he will get that from them. And at certain points of the game, Farke will go for that over going for a player to get you another goal or nick a game.
I think that's what Harrison probably gives him late on in the game, which probably will be his role. Is more he does defensive duties as well if we're trying to hold on or get a point or three, and that's probably why he's in there. I think Brendan runs around and doesn't achieve very much, so I have concerns there. And Dan James and Willie will run their legs off. So you got to have replacement. You got Okafor as well. Sullivan's been mentioned. He was on Spurs bench yesterday. He's still available, but that's why he's integrated and back in. And it's total surprise. I never thought that Harrison would be back in the Leeds team, but he's not a starter. But as in rugby, they've got the finishers, haven't they? The bomb squad, whatever they call it. And I think he'll be part of that. He'll be coming on and doing a job on that wing. And he annoyed Newcastle yesterday, and he was making those runs. And the final ball wasn't always there, but just don't let him take corners. I don't want to see one hand up. One hand usually means I'm not beating the first man. So we need to settle on a set piece taker as well. And I think in the midfield as well. I think when it settles down, I think we'll see more of Stack as well. I think he's not quite settled in because it's been different games and different things required.
Tempo as well, Jerry.
Yeah, and I think he will be making more of those surgeon runs, and because he maybe have more defense behind him. But I think that all these guys are here to stay, and that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be swapping over, and we got Okafor as well, who's going to hopefully make his mark, and you potentially be a starter, maybe over either Dan James or Willie. Just depends. So but it's a 25-man squad, so nobody's got a first team place, so very few. So they're all interchangeable, all for different games and different situations.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if everyone's fit and available and Leeds do bring in an additional right winger on the left-hand side, you'll have Okafor as first choice, Nonto there, and Jack Harrison falls down the pecking order, so might not get off the bench. And if you go to the right-hand side, you'll have a new right winger, whoever that might be, Dan James, and then Brendan Aronson, so he falls down the pecking order again. So all of a sudden, Jerry, as you said, you look at the bench and maybe there's a question mark whether they even make the bench. Do Leeds look at them moving them on? I think as it stands right now, Leeds have got a 24-man squad. There is one space left within that squad to bring in an over 21 player. Whether they can, whether or not they would have ticked that under 20 box perfectly, 20 years of age wouldn't have to be registered. Leeds could have done some smart business there. They're going to have to be creative in another way if they do want to bring in two players. And the fact that Farke said it yesterday, Paul, he wants two. Someone has to go.
No, I agree, which is why we lean towards the Perot thing potentially moving on. It's just something that I think all of us can see, or a massive surprise could come out of the window, and it could be Detroit that gets sold. It's a weird one. It's somebody does have to go, or there could be the deregistration of a keeper and putting an under 21 keeper into there. Is it Mahadi into there?
Mahadi's very good.
Yeah, and putting Mahadi into there, so that then frees up another spot as well. So it's just a case of where it actually goes. I mean, Ken just looks happy to be here, doesn't he? I really like Ken.
I'm okay with that.
He's brilliant in and around the place. So it's just a case of, do you know what it is? I want the transfer window over and done with. I want it finished. It's ridiculous. Shay Given was 100% right today when he went. It needs closing before the league starts. It's just, it's bonkers that there are teams fighting for players, or if you're Chelsea, just trying to buy everybody before the season actually starts. It's ridiculous. It's annoying, but there you go.
Yeah, you're a month in, and we're still waiting on the window to close. I mean, the reason for it is simple. The Premier League did try to do this before. They did bring the registration forward to close the weekend before, or the Friday night before the season kicked off. But then the European clubs were like, well, great, we'll extend theirs now. So we have 3 weeks after you're closed for us to get all the players we want, and you can't get them. And that put the Premier League at a disadvantage. And they said the following year, no, not doing that again. We're going to line up with everybody else. So unless you can get Europe and the Saudi Pro League and all to do it and agree on a date before the seasons kick off, unfortunately, it looks like it's here to stay for a bit longer. But yeah, I completely agree. How do you start a season when you don't know what your squad is fully yet? And players, how do they settle in and get ready for a campaign when there's question marks in the back of their heads whether they'd be able to be involved in the squad or not? The Alex Kearns is a really smart one. I think Alex Kearns will transition into a coaching role within the club, and I'm okay with that. I think he's a great person to have around the place. He knows his place within the squad. We're out of the League Cup, so he's unlikely to get any minutes on the pitch. And Rory Mahadi is a very, very good young goalkeeper, and he would also take homegrown. He's under 20, does everything Alex Kearns does for us here, but then doesn't impact that 25-man squad. So that could happen as well. It's a little bit harsh on Alex, but I think he's old enough to understand that. Folks, I think we'll wrap it up there. Jerry, any final thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
I just remember when the transfer deadline used to be March, and it used to be throughout the season. I used to love that. I always need transfer. No, I'm happy going into the international break. I'm going on international duty next week. I'll be in Dublin next week for the Hungary game, and watch for Ireland's the start of us. I'm not getting overconfident, but I think we can win the World Cup next year. And yes, and Leeds top 8 in the Premier League. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the crack and getting over it. So as you know, Jared, it's always good crack. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And next 3 games, we're looking at in 3 batches of 3, and another 4 points in the next 3. Thank you very much. And we're 11th place.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. Nice if Ireland could manage to get Louis Barry and Keenan Dewsbury Hall confirmed as Irish players as well. Which
Louis Barry is, I think. Louis Barry
has. Done and dust. Until he plays a competitive match in a green jersey, I'm not buying this anymore. It's happened before too often.
Yes, I'm looking at old Horsehead. Dewsbury Hall would be a great one. And he knows he wants to. And he's one of the Dewsbury Halls.
Did you see his goal yesterday?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I didn't.
Really nice finish. Instinctive left foot outside of the area, bang, top left-hand corner.
Oh, that's an England call-up for him then, Paul. That's not gone for us.
He's one of the Dewsbury Halls from Mayo, as we all know. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. The Dewsbury Hall, which is located somewhere in the west of Ireland.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll wrap it up there. Paul, sorry, anything final bits to let us know before you go, Paul?
Not really. Just I'm glad we've gotten to the end of this little box of games. I think I'm going to same as Jerry's, just be boxing it off in groups of 3 and 4 and stuff and things like that, and just see how we go. It's been a bit stressful, I think, impacted more by the fact that the transfer window's still on, so we end up focusing on that quite a lot. But no, just I'm pleased with where we are. We just need to keep maintaining it and keep building on it after the international break.
And just isn't it mad tonight? Crystal Palace and Villa are kicking off at 7:00 on a Sunday night. That's when you want to be at home watching Glen Rowe, isn't it? Yeah. As you know, Jared, that's another Irish reference.
Welcome to the full Americanization of Premier League.
because that's an afternoon kickoff on the East Coast. So there you go.
is.
That's why. Anyway,
So it
we'll
is.
wrap it up there before we get into geopolitical stuff. That's Joe Blackburn's job. We'll move on from that. I'll leave that alone. Folks, enjoy the rest of your evening. Back first thing tomorrow morning with what will be a very busy deadline day. We have a final hour. Well, it's 2 hours. So we're going to do an hour before and an hour after of the transfer window closing between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. You can join me for that. I am delighted this will be over. My wife hasn't seen me in a week. She's looking forward to having a chat at some point. So yeah, we'll see how we go tomorrow. Fingers crossed for the final bits to get done. Really appreciate all the support. You can also check out today's Sunday sessions with Alex Simon from American Leeds, which is available as an audio only on Spotify. It's not on iTunes because it's just iTunes has been a pain in the arse to get it sorted. But it is also available on the members tab for any of our members in the video format. But it has been really much cut for audio. So if you are watching it and wonder why there's so many cuts in it, we took all the A's and M's and A's out of it. So made for audio, but you can get the video if you're a member as well. Folks, that'll be it for us. Talk to you tomorrow morning. See you later. Bye.
Right.